So guys, yesterday Chapter 4 Season 4 just launched, and in today's video I want to go over the 5 best solo drop spots for you guys to improve and to land at in solo ranked and solo tournaments. I'm a really big fan of the map changes this season. I think it's really reminiscent of Chapter 2 Season 2, especially with all the brand new mythic weapons and different options that we have for this brand new season. I'm really pumped to bring you guys this video, so let's get right into going over what the 5 best drop spots are. So I want to start off by going over the smallest POI. I'm going to be going smallest to largest, as you guys know. I'm going to begin with going over Shore Shack. So the Shore Shack is a small little POI located right next to the bottom left portion of the map. Shore Shack is going to be right next to Relentless Retreat, which is a brand new major POI. So you guys are going to be able to go there and loot afterwards if you're done looting Shore Shack. It's a really good position POI as well because it has a bunch of different various things around it. You guys have access to Shattered Slabs. You can go over to Frenzy Farm if you need, even the jungle biome. But getting into the general technical specifications of this POI, Shore Shack is going to be having 4 chests. It's also going to be having 2 coolers, 1 hollow chest, and then it's going to be having plenty of materials from trees, which is where you can get wood, rocks, which is where you can get stone, and then metal from the building. So you guys can obviously farm different areas such as the RV. You can go over to the Shattered Slabs and farm there. You can find metal around the area. Obviously, metal is the scarcest material, however, you can still find it at this POI. What I personally really like about Shore Shack is that it pretty much fits the description of a perfect small solo drop spot. If you want to land somewhere near a big POI that's low-key, especially if you master the drop for it, you guys can actually get a bunch of eliminations pretty much right off the rip. What you guys can do is you can land at Shore Shack and you can beam people flying over to Relentless Retreat, or if there's people that try to land there as their backup spot if they don't get a good drop for Relentless Retreat, you guys can beat them to it because it's your main drop spot and you've practiced it. I think that Shore Shack is really valuable for the players who are newer to competitive, the players who aren't as confident landing at those bigger POIs. Shore Shack's a great place for them to go, especially where they can get a good amount of loot and then a bunch of different amenities as well. Overall, this is one of the better small solo drop spots that has been changed in the new season. I would definitely consider landing here if I were you guys. Now, going over the second drop spot, this is going to be over near the top right section of the map near Sanguine Suites. This is going to be called CRUSTY Crates. Now, I really like CRUSTY Crates because yes, it is very much on the side of the map. However, you still have really good access to Sanguine Suites like you did in the previous drop spot. CRUSTY Crates is really solid in my opinion because it has a really good amount of loot, but it also is really closely knit together, so it is actually really quick to loot as well. A big benefit of this POI is that you're going to also be able to fish because you're right next to the ocean and there's plenty of fishing rods and fishing spots when you guys are there. Now, getting into the specifications of CRUSTY Crates, this drop spot is going to be having 7 chests, 4 slurp barrels, 1 hollow chest, also 1 cooler, and then you guys can get wood from the logs and the pallets around the area. You guys can get the brick from the stones, and then you guys can obviously get metal from the different crates around this area. After all, crates is in the title of the drop spot. Now, in my opinion, CRUSTY Crates is one of the best drop spots if you guys are trying to land anywhere near Sanguine Suites, but once again, it's a place that's really low-key, so not too many people are actually going to be landing here. Similar to the last drop spot of Shore Shack, this is going to be a place where some people who have a bad drop for Sanguine Suites choose to land, and you guys are going to be able to eliminate them because you know the POI better than they do. It's a really good backup spot if you're landing at Sanguine Suites and if you want to leave. However, if you're the person who's primarily landing there, you're going to be able to beat them every single time. This POI has plenty of benefits. You guys are going to be leaving pretty much stacked on materials, which in my opinion is the biggest benefit. Obviously, you're going to have pretty solid loot because of the 7 chests and the hollow chests, and you're going to have pretty good meds, and you're definitely going to be full shield considering the cooler and the slurp barrels. Pretty much everything you need in a solo drop spot you can find at CRUSTY Crates. It's just a matter of you guys actually being able to use it. Now, obviously, like I said, this is a little bit more of a low-key POI. However, it still might have 1, maybe 2 people contesting you at most if obviously they're not landing at Sanguine Suites or if they have a bad drop spot for that place. That's something you do need to keep in mind, but obviously you guys should be able to do it as long as you practice it and make sure how to get the best drop and how to loot it the most efficiently. Now let's move on to the next drop spot. Now this next one is actually going to be MAYDAY Landing. Now MAYDAY Landing is a part of what the old map used to be last season. There's not much changes that happened to this POI. However, I still want to go over it because it's an extremely good POI for you guys to land at in solos. It has so many different benefits and there's so many different things about this POI. Obviously the main thing being that it's very central and rotation will be really easy. Once again, it has really good access to Eclipse Estate. You guys can start to see a sort of theme here about where you guys are going to be landing. All of the POIs that I'm recommending to you guys have really easy access to the new POIs. So you guys can obviously go there, you can continue looting, you can maybe pick up any scrap loot that anybody left around. MAYDAY Landing is no different. Now in terms of the specs, MAYDAY Landing is going to be having 12 chests, 2 slurp plants, 5 slurp barrels, one upgrade bench, one hollow chest, one vending machine, and then also a temple vault, which is where you can go and you can either get a rift or a legendary chest based upon the statue that you choose. And then you can obviously get wood from the trees around the area, brick from the stones in the area, and then metal from the plane that's crash landed right there. You guys can easily max out on metal in this spot. Now obviously this is a bit more of a high key drop spot. There might be one, maybe two people landing near you, and like I said before, obviously it may be a backup drop spot for anybody that failed landing at Eclipse Estate. The personal appeal that I have for this drop spot is the simple fact that it's really central and it's really close to Shady Stilts. Being close to two major POIs, it's really easy to get a lot of kills once you guys leave the drop spot if you are looking for some W key games. I'd recommend this drop spot to a bit more aggressive players who maybe want to land somewhere a little bit low key but then get really good in the mid game and get a lot of eliminations. For ranked, I love this drop spot because you don't really need to worry about materials once you leave it. You're going to be pretty much maxed out on every single material you could possibly want, and then once you leave, you're obviously going to be maxed on shield because of the slurp plants and slurp barrels. There's going to be plenty of chests, you're going to have a lot of wood, you're going to have pretty much everything you need, tons of ammo, and maybe even a temple vault legendary weapon. Overall, Mayday landing is really solid for you guys. Obviously there may be 1-2 people contesting you like before, but I think it's a little bit easier to fight as well because it's pretty much a familiar biome for a lot of you guys who have been playing last season. I think it's really valuable for Mayday landing to be a definite drop spot that you guys consider when you're picking which one you're going to land at this season. Now let's move on to the fourth drop spot on this list. That's going to be Aegis Temple. Now Aegis Temple is located in the top right corner of the map, right next to Sanguine Suites, like I said before. That's kind of the theme that I'm going with for this video. Aegis Temple is going to be having a whopping 15 chests in it. It can also have 6 slurp barrels, 1 cooler, 1 hollow chest, 1 launch pad, and then a bunch of materials from the trees around the area, stones, which are going to be those ice bricks that give you a lot of brick, and then metal obviously from the building, which is kind of a brutal bastion themed building that you guys can easily farm metal from. Now, one of the main reasons I love the Aegis Temple, obviously it has a launch pad, which is really big for rotation, but once again, it's really close to Sanguine Suites. However, the thing that I really like about this one, it's slightly more elevated than Sanguine Suites, so you guys have a really good line of sight onto the POI. So for example, if you need any storm surge, you need to be able to rotate or get any tags or eliminations in that area, you guys can easily get a DMR or another ranged weapon and get really good storm surge tags or eliminations from that POI. Also, if you're not just trying to get eliminations and maybe better loot and maybe even a mythic, you can rotate over to Sanguine Suites and you can obviously go there, loot any scrap loot, go into the vault, pretty much kind of clean up the POI from anybody who landed there. Aegis Temple, in my opinion, is one of the strongest POIs. I think it's a really solid place to land if you don't want to land somewhere too contested, but land next to somewhere very contested that you guys can really benefit from. I would say though, this POI will be a little bit more contested than the rest. Obviously, there might be 3, maybe even 4 players landing here. It's a really big backup spot for Sanguine Suites. But also, even apart from that, it's just a really big drop spot in general for people to land in solos. I'd really recommend you guys learn this POI, learn how to drop there, learn how to get the best landing, and then I think Aegis Temple is really the best POI for those of you who want to land somewhere pretty low-key, but still have a really good line of sight onto a major POI. And now you guys know how I like to finish off these videos by going over a named POI, and obviously this is going to be the one that I've kind of been circling around the whole video. This is going to be Sanguine Suites. Now, I personally love Sanguine Suites. I think it's the perfect size for a mythic POI. I obviously think that because it's a mythic POI, it's really valuable, but you guys can get really strong weapons. You guys can obviously get really good loot. You guys can get a lot of elimination points. It's really valuable for you guys to be very good fighters. That's why I think that this POI is the best named POI for you guys to land at. And obviously it is in the top right corner of the map, however rotation shouldn't be that challenging from here. There's obviously different ways for you guys to rotate around the area, and in my opinion I think it's the best named POI right now. Going over the specs of this POI, there's going to be 20 plus chests, you're also going to be having 3 coolers, 1 vending machine, there's also going to be those new loot backpacks around the area, then there's going to be a capture point, 5 slurp barrels, 2 slap barrels, you guys can find rifts in the building if you want to rotate. That's actually what makes rotation quite easy from this POI. And then there's also going to be the wood from the trees in the area, the brick from the stones around the beach, and then metal obviously from the buildings in the area. You guys are not going to be low on any materials if you land at this major POI. Sanguine Suites, like I said before, is my personal favorite named POI in this brand new season. I think if you do land somewhere new, definitely Sanguine Suites is the way to go. Obviously, you guys can get the mythic weapons here. You can get the Midas drum gun, you can get TNT and Kaboom bow. Anything you really want from this POI, you can get. That's why I think it's the best named one for you guys to land at this season. But guys, those are the 5 best solo drop spots in Chapter 4 Season 4. If you guys did enjoy, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel down below. I really love the theme of this season. I think it's a really good repetition of Chapter 2 Season 2, which is personally one of my favorite seasons of all time. I hope you guys share the same sentiment that I do. But that's about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.